All right, so attributions are learners' self-constructed explanations of their successes and failures. All right, and so we can associate the reason we succeed or fail as something internal to us or external, right? As something stable or unstable, as something we can control or something we cannot control. And so, um, generally, internal, we want students to associate things with attribute their success or failure to something internal and controllable, right? This is something that I can do, this is something that I can do, something I can change, right? And so the way attributions influence emotion, cognition, and behavior is through locus of control, right? If it's external to you, well, there's nothing I could do. It's like it's outside of it's outside of me, right? Or if it's internal to you, then maybe it's more controllable. Um, we want their expectations for success to be stable, um, but this can be unstable, right? They can maybe not know. It can depend on their emotions, how much they are likely to attribute it to these things, right? If it's controllable, they're more likely to have high effort and persist. And then also their learning strategies that they use in the academic performance is related to their expectancies for the task, right? So if they expect to succeed, they're more likely to um, use better learning strategies, and they're more likely to actually succeed. All right, and so then there is diversity in cognitive and sociocultural factors affecting motivation. So the book mentions kind of Asia as broadly valuing learning for learning's sake, seeing that through effort and persistence, you will improve and make progress. Whereas the more European American um, approach is like you'll really learn when you're intrinsically motivated, right? This is like part of this is why there's such an emphasis on, well, we want you to have a love for reading. We want students to love this subject. Um, Part of this is like culturally, we are valuing intrinsic motivation. Um, but then, one side effect of that is, well, what about when you're not intrinsically motivated, right? Because nobody is intrinsically motivated about everything. So what about when you don't have that kind of motivation? And then one of the challenges with, learning for learning's sake is you might not develop kind of your own sense of autonomy if you're always following that. You're just learning like, oh, I'm just going with this because it's important, but you don't might not internalize or make things your own as easily. And then there's also gender differences. So in schools, girls generally work harder than boys, earn better grades, and things like that. But boys are less discouraged by failure, right? So the way your gender has an influence on motivation. All right. And so here we mentioned a little bit about of the self-fulfilling prophecy. And so students begin to see themselves as their teachers do, and well, they act according to that vision. And so this most commonly is associated with negative outcomes, you know. Um, but importantly, like with social cognitive theory earlier, like these behaviors that students see can positively or negatively influence aggression, right? Same with here. These, prophecies can be positive or negative, right? If you continually emphasize that students can succeed, right, and you equip them with the basic skills and knowledge, help them set small goals, and then experience these successes, right? Then they can help rise up, right? So you part of your um, your public belief in them with your teaching can help make it a self-fulfilling prophecy where the student does come up. Okay. So this is a lot. I'm not going to read all of it or discuss all of it. Um, but basically, something important. So I'll just focus on the most core parts, right? You want to consider multiple possible explanations for low achievement and poor behavior. So the reason for this is not um, to remove agency, right? Well, oh, well, this student, doesn't achieve well because this student has poor behavior because there's so much X, Y, and Z. Like this is, do not use this to remove agency. Um, but what this is it's seeking to better understand context, right? There is, it's unlikely that there is one reason or one cause for this. There might be main causes, but considering multiple possible explanations is important because it can help you avoid creating a negative self-fulfilling prophecy. All right. And it can also help you become and be more empathetic to the student, and also thinking through these explanations can help you learn how to, you know, kind of differentiate your instruction and feedback for that student to hopefully be a little more motivating. And so with student success, we want to attribute this, to a combination of ability and controllable factors, right? Because ability is always part of it. Um, but then controllable factors is like what the student does. However, this is, interesting. Only attribute successes to effort when considerable effort is exerted. So the reason for this is, we want to avoid empty praise, right? Don't praise them for doing something that they should easily be able to do. Equip students with effective learning strategies, and then teach students to form positive attributions, productive attributions to their successes and failures, right? Help them to see where things are controllable and equip them like with learning strategies or self-regulation strategies to be better able to control these outcomes, right? And that being better able to control it will help shift the locus from, if it's external, help shift it towards internal, help make it more stable and help them succeed.